morning. Today is Tuesday, October 4th. It is 8:30 a.m. It is my pleasure to call to order the Finance and Physical Resources Committee meeting. I'd like to welcome fellow commissioners, guests, and staff who are here today and those watching at home. Thank you so much for taking an interest in your local government. With that, I will start with public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this morning? Please step up to the podium, state your name and address. And you have 3 minutes after you state your name and address.
The land donation. State the importance of preserving this to meet the needs of that particular area in Cannon Township. Very heavy with traffic. Park, with its proximity to existing off of Belding Road, a great location. Proximity and accessibility are important to actually use the park. And it's easier for people to make the healthy choice to simply get out and move more, which is what we want anyway. This green space is consistent with the vision in the Cannon Township Master. Parties, and it is embedded in the zoning ordinance. So my to recommend. Regarding developing the park. Foundation will be or developed. I want to make that in our location. 1.5 million. There were 31 local.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment. That brings us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion?
Moved by Commissioner Sparks, supported by Commissioner Womack. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? Anything have to be pulled? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing the consent agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 3 from the Parks Department. Al?
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept approximately 125 acres of the former Silver Lake Country Club and to create a new Kent County Park in Cannon Township from the Parks Foundation. The Parks Department has been working with the Kent County Parks Foundation and the James and Shirley Balk Family Foundation for several years to purchase a portion of the Silver Lake Country Club property in Cannon Township. This purchase and subsequent donation will create a new park of approximately 125 acres, which will be named James and Shirley Balk Family Park. Cannon Township has experienced a growth rate of nearly 10% over the last decade, which is expected to continue, making it important to acquire parkland to meet the needs of the community and the Parks Department's Parks, Trails, and Natural Areas Master Plan. Cannon Township's municipal water and sewer utilities near the site of the acquisition are very close to being at capacity, and expansion of these services is projected to be 10 years away. The County Health Department has several concerns with allowing individual well and septic systems for single-family home sites, including the high water table could make it difficult for the site to have septic systems. The current wells in this area are typically less than 100 feet deep and not ideal conditions for installing a septic system due to compaction, earth moving, and possible fill brought in to develop the golf course. The Parks Foundation will begin a fundraising campaign for development of the park. The donation of the property will be administered by the county per county guidelines. Assistant Corporate Counsel will review and approve the agreement as to form prior to signature.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Support.
Okay, we have moved by Commissioner Morgan. We have support by Commissioner Sparks. Let's take questions, comments, and discussion at this time. Commissioner Bukowski?
Is this donation the entirety of the golf course? And what's happening, if not, what's happening to the rest of the golf course?
Why don't we go ahead and have Dan come on up and address those questions for Commissioner Bukowski? Dan is our head of parks. Go ahead, Dan.
It's about 2/3 of the golf. Developer or
I still have, whatever it's worth, just down the road, we have Pickerel Lake. Just down the road, we just purchased a big chunk to add Townsend Park. Somewhere on the to-do pile is Cannonsburg ski area potentially. And I don't know, I mean. But, you know, just, yeah, so again, it's a great opportunity. You know, there was a golf course in the city of Grand Rapids that but then at the same time, we'll bring some DR to this table and we can't do because we don't have curious more than.
Hey, anyone else with some questions or comments? All right, thank you, Dan. All right, all those in favor, please say yes. Yes. All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 4 from probate court. Al?
Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to appropriate an additional $23,750 to the 2022 Special Project Fund budget for the Kent County Guardianship Program from the Kent County Senior Millage administered by the Area of Agency on Aging of Western Michigan. Kent County agreed to operate and administer the guardianship program under the supervision of the Kent County Probate Court effective October 1, 2015. This program supplies adult guardianship services for indigent persons residing in Kent County who have no person willing or able to provide these services. The 2022 General Appropriations Act Resolution 11-18-21-117 included $691,773 for the 2022 Guardianship Program budget. Funding for the program comes from the State of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Kent County Senior Millage, administered by the Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan, Spectrum Health, Trinity Health St. Mary's, and the General Fund. The Senior Millage Guardianship Program funding allocation in the 2022 amended budget is $259,402. An increase in funding was recently granted, requiring an additional appropriation of $23,750, bringing the total adjusted award to $283,152. Senior millage funds are used to pay public guardians $83 per ward per month. The contract also covers $5 per ward per month for probate administration costs. The FY 2022 contract will help cover 245 indigent wards per month. In 2021, the guardianship program paid guardian fees for 6,737 cases, or an average of 561 wards per month. Of these, the state of Michigan paid fees for 881 cases, the county 3,200 cases, and the senior millage 2,656 cases.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wooden and support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Polkowski. We'll take questions, comments, and discussion. Yes, Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Jenny, you're going to come on up.
Well, I think, yeah, it's financial, helping with healthcare type appointments, just basically making sure that their needs are met when there's an absence of others to step in and do that.
Limited knowledge. Be a possibility. Not like home health care. They're more of in my limited knowledge, it's, someone who may be on fixed income, but may use that fixed income to remember to pay rent monthly, and someone to help ensure that their income is being used towards ensuring that monthly bills are taken care of. Whatever housing, healthcare, and services that keep them alive available, and to guardianship requires a decision.
Okay. Commissioner Antor, you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious.
I know we are seeing an increase. I have had that discussion with Avery. And I think somebody could have a guardian until they pass. I mean, Linda, I know, has some particular knowledge of this as well.
Guardian and conservatorship can come into play for a short term, somebody's recovering from an illness, or it can be long term, it can be permanent. It all depends on what the needs of the actual recipient of the services are. And they can be very limited powers to make sure the rent gets paid and things like that, but the person's otherwise independent. It's just that maybe they're susceptible to being scammed. So you put somebody else in the place because, somebody doesn't have the ability to say no to whoever it is that's knocking on their doors, calling them all the time. And so you put an intermediary in there, and that person is very good at saying no to somebody who says, please send me $50 a week or something like that. So the general goal with guardians and conservators is to give the individual as much independence as possible and work with what skills and talents they currently have to make sure that they are in a safe spot, they're not taken advantage of, and they get what they need to enjoy life to the fullest extent possible.
Would a guardian?
Well, a private guardian, which could be a family member, they tend to stay a little longer. With these folks, especially at this rate, you do get some turnover. And especially if you have a very challenging client that calls, a friend of mine was a guardian. She used to work here in the admin office, and she was a guardian for a while and had to step away because she had a couple of her clients that were calling at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning because they couldn't sleep. So it's a tough role to play in certain circumstances, and that can play into how long someone stays with a particular client. Oh, yes. There are professional services that do this.
I mean, not maybe the same case.
Oh, absolutely. There are, like I said, there are people that do this as a profession.
I got you. All right.
They might be, somebody familiar with bookkeeping and accounting or things like that.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 from the Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority. Al?
Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to authorize the issuance of Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority Revenue Bond Series 2022. The authority is authorized under Act 95 Public Acts of Michigan, 2015, which permitted the county to form the authority to issue revenue bonds in accordance with Act 94 Public Acts of Michigan, 1993, as amended. The proposed resolution will authorize a bond issuance by the authority in an amount not to exceed $300 million of Series 2022 revenue bonds, approval of the authority's plan of financing as required by Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code for tax-exempt bonds issued to finance projects with private business use, the pledge of the county's limited tax full faith and credit on the bonds, the county treasurer to execute a certificate of the county to comply with the continuing disclosure, the county administrator and chairperson of the Board of Commissioners to prepare and approve portions of the official statement that pertain to the county, and execution of all other documents as necessary in order to close on the issuance of the proposed bond issuance. The bond proceeds will be used to pay for construction and/or improvements to the terminal project and the rental car and parking facility project. The bonds issued to finance the terminal project will be tax-exempt bonds. The bonds issued to finance the rental car and parking facility project will be issued as taxable bonds as such projects do not meet the exemptions to qualify for tax-exempt status under federal tax rules. Staff anticipates closing on the bonds in December 2022. If the bond closing is delayed, an airport authorized officer may redesignate such series of Series 2022 bonds to reflect the year in which such series of Series 2022 bonds are issued. Bond counsel has reviewed all documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
Okay, we've got moved by Commissioner Morgan, support by Commissioner Wooden, and we'll take questions, comments, and discussion at this time. Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Chair. I first wanted to thank the authority staff for coming and presenting this proposal to in board work session. I think that helped illuminate the plans, and simply because Commissioner Morgan did not ask for the floor first, I would just he has reminded us many a time that even in the depths of the recession, the airport was able to make good payments on their bonds. So I certainly am comfortable with this approval. I did have one question, only for the sake of having it on record, because I know it was shared in work session and in staff memo, but we are comfortable that we can approve this decision and potential subsequent bond issuances without risking our bond rating, correct? Those
Correct.
that we have on the pike, including the potential sustainable business park, whatever we may do in facilities, that those bond requests could also be approved, and we would feel comfortable that it wouldn't risk our bond rating.
Correct.
Thank you.
Hey, Commissioner Bukowski.
Sure. Since everybody's here from the airport, might as well ask a question. What? I mean,
Well, I was gonna ask one.
all right, well, hopefully this isn't yours. Because, I mean, the biggest question is, this is according to your master plan.
Come on up, nice airport,
Nice airport.
Tori and group.
Good morning, Tori Rich.
this to occur in 2026. Pre-pandemic was the best year ever. Systems to process. Capacity divisions we have today. These projects will accommodate that.
I wasn't able to make any. He's not part of this, correct?
Part of the elevator. I love the question. We've been working. Design phase of that, we were able to get some congressional earmarks to move into design. Takes about a year to design.
Yeah, one of the I got.
Commissioner Morgan?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. Been involved in a lot of bonding over my career here. Some with the airport, some with. I can tell you from, I've never seen a bonding request more analyzed than this one. And I'm perfectly comfortable with it. Not only would I not put the county in a bad position, I wouldn't put the airport in a bad position. So, we all know that the airport is one of the economic, centers of the county, and it's our front door, and it's very capital intensive. This is just part of our plan. We've been working our plan, and, I see this project, that $100 million is a lot of money. I have never seen more due diligence to the staff, and that's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, what's the length of this bond? Is it 20 years, 10 years, 30 years?
30 years for both.
It's a 30-year. That makes me pretty old. Okay, anyone else? Anybody else for questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen, very much. All right, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That will bring us to item number 6, Commissioner Miscellaneous. Is there any Commissioner Miscellaneous this morning? Yes, Commissioner Morgan.
Yes, thank you. in response to Commissioner Polkowski's very thoughtful comments on Parkland, we did a study years ago on where we were and where our projections for the amount of parkland that we needed, the size of our county. Al, could you dig that out? I still think we're woefully behind our projections on parkland. You know, everybody knows I'm for parkland. It's public can walk on it, most of our parks are passive, I understand that, but, hey, green space is green space. Just following up on Commissioner Polkowski's stuff. Not sure, so don't hold me to it, Commissioner Polkowski, but I think,
Yeah, well,
it was way back, I mean, when Commissioner Polkowski was a young man.
yeah, we'll dig that up. In fact, I know that when Ottawa set their targets, it was per some national standard of acres per population, and they and Kent have the same amount, so that would make me think that maybe we're a little bit short if they hit those brackets. But yeah, we can check that. We'll get that to you.
Blast in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Green?
Thank you. It's something that we need to do. About longer term. Catfish. The staff into leadership. Talking specifically. And state.
Okay, any other Commissioner miscellaneous this morning? Yes, Commissioner Womack?
Just want to say congratulations to the airport and Kent County, because I know this is going to benefit people of Kent County. Practice, and I remember coming through the airport. I would like to add that I hope there will be
Hey, any other Commissioner miscellaneous? Okay, I'd just like to add a warm welcome to Commissioner Dan Korndike, who is also a former commissioner and former chair. Nice to see you in the audience. And with that, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is Tuesday, October 18th at 8:30 a.m.